Okay, sorry for that delay folks, but welcome back to Monthly Pokemon. Now before the turn of the millennium, Nintendo released another Pokemon spin-off game for the N64, and like Pokemon Stadium, this was another game that I wanted to own, but I never got a chance to play until I finally got my own N64 in 2003. So without further ado, let's take a look at Pokémon Snap for the N64.
Well actually, let's see if we can get this godforsaken cart to work first. Out of all the N64 games I own, this one gives me the hardest time to start up. Even after extensive cleaning with a Q-tip and some Windex, the game barely works, and I have to be careful not to accidentally move the console, or else the game might freeze. Ever had that happen to you? I could barely play Majora's Mask because of shit like that. Do these carts just have a shorter lifespan than, say, a NES cart or a SNES cart? I was never sure on that. Anyway, this is Pokémon Snap, a game where your job is to travel across 7 different levels and do your best to take good pictures of all the Pokémon that roam across the track. You control Todd Snap, who, if I can recall from the anime, was a bit of a douche and loved taking pictures of Pokemon in their natural habitat. Professor Oak wants Snap to complete his Pokemon report, and he can only do that by taking lots of pictures of different Pokemon. I hear that this game was originally not going to be a Pokemon game to begin with, but rather a generic photography game where you take pictures of nature and such. For the Nintendo 64, I'm kinda glad that idea was scrapped. Pokémon Snap is very much like an on-rail shooter, but instead of killing things, you're just taking pictures. In order to get a good picture, you'll need to try your best to get a Pokemon as close to the center of the shot as possible, as well as catch them in the middle of doing something odd or dazzling. For instance, you can take an ordinary picture of Pikachu and you'll be rewarded points, no problem, but if you can take a picture of multiple Pikachus doing a thunder attack, you'll be rewarded even more points. At the end of each stage, you can show Professor Oak your pictures, where he'll grade them based on your technique, the Pokemon's pose, and your overall professionalism. Though there are times where I can't help but think he's easily pleased.
Is that Pikachu on a stump?
In order to unlock more stages, you need to take pictures of different Pokemon and score a lot of points. Sometimes it's as easy as just taking a picture because some Pokemon are just sitting ducks, but other times you'll need to manipulate the circumstances with tools that Professor Oak will give you along your journey, but you don't start getting them until you complete the second stage. That's something that always bugged me. Why couldn't Professor Oak just give me the tools before I started my journey? Apples to feed and lure Pokemon, Pester Balls to thwack them on the head, a Pokefood to make them dance, a speed up feature to make your vehicle go faster. I always felt like these upgrades should have been a part of your default moveset. The first 2 stages are a little sluggish because you can only take pictures of certain Pokemon because of your limited capabilities. I understand that they wanted to break you into the game somehow, but I always thought it should have been whether or not you could effectively use the tools. Well, with the tools, you can cause Pokemon to do all sorts of things. Some stages require you to use tools on multiple occasions, ending with an opportunity to get a great picture. One of the pictures I hate getting the most is the Balloon Pikachu, because hitting this goddamn Zubat is next to impossible with the Pester Balls. I also have a hard time getting those singing Jigglypuffs to appear, which require you to rescue 3 separate Jigglypuffs scattered across the cave area. When you manage to score a great picture, it does feel like a nice accomplishment, but sometimes the process of getting the opportunity can be a bit frustrating. In order to unlock the last stage, the Rainbow Cloud, you need to take pictures of Pokemon signs, which can range from a rock formation that looks like a Kingler to an entire fucking mountain that looks like a Dugtrio. I like to point out that at the end of the Valley stage, you meet up with Professor Oak, who says he's having a hard time finding the Dugtrio mountain, but how the hell do you miss this? It's a fucking mountain that looks like a Dugtrio! The Pokemon signs can be a bit cryptic to locate, but you shouldn't have too much trouble, although you have to wait until you clear the 6th stage. If you try to take pictures of Pokemon signs before meeting with Professor Oak in the Valley, it doesn't count.
Petty.
Rainbow Cloud contains only 1 Pokemon, and it's Mew. A bit anticlimactic to be honest, but Mew does score you a ton of points. Thing is, you gotta break that damn shield first with Pester Balls. After that, you only have a few seconds to whack Mew again before it gets back in the shield, which is not as easy as it sounds. It's constantly moving, and you can't exactly shoot Pester Balls like a machine gun. There's only 63 Pokemon to take pictures of in this game, which is a bit of a bummer, especially considering that a game like Pokémon Stadium had 3D models of all 151 Pokemon to begin with, although this game did come first, but still. Some stages are rather guilty of reusing Pokemon from earlier stages, especially Pikachu, and some stages just get rather lazy with Pokemon placement. Do we really need like 9 to 10 electrodes in the power plant stage? Or the Voltorbs? How about Raichu? Shit, you already have Pikachu all over the damn place, where's Raichu? The stages themselves do quite a nice job with keeping the Pokemon diversified, but there are times you wish they added 1 or 2 more Pokemon to keep things from getting stale too quickly. Just about every Pokemon sport their voices and grunts from the anime, and I think it helps create a neat little world that's easy to get engrossed in. For a Nintendo 64 game, it's pretty graphic intensive, which can cause issues like slowdown, but in a game like this, I think the slowdown can actually be beneficial for getting a better picture. The overall graphical quality is rather nice, though some areas do look a bit dated even for N64 standards. The music's not all that memorable either, but I really don't find myself listening to it all that often because I'm so distracted with trying to get a good picture. Pokémon Snap was also re-released for the Virtual Console on the Nintendo Wii, which allowed you to save pictures on your message board and share them among friends. Back in the day, you could take pictures to a local Blockbuster and print them out at a game station. I don't think I ever saw one of these in my neighborhood, although that could be just because I was more of a Hollywood video kind of guy. Pokémon Snap, while not an incredibly deep game, is still a rather fun distraction, although it shouldn't take you more than 2 hours to fully complete it. There are high scores you can attempt to beat, but for me, as soon as I capture that last Pokemon on film, I usually just turn it off. Give it a shot if you're a curious enough Pokemon fan.
Well then, that was okay, but nothing amazing. I'm gonna play something else. I'm not sure what.
John?
Ted?
Pokemon Snap? Really?
What? It's a fun little distraction.
John, stop stalling it already. Just get to Generation 2. It's the one everyone wants. It's my favorite in my series.
But what about Hey You Pikachu?
Don't you dare! Now come on, just get to Generation 2. Please?
Okay, fine. Next week we're jumping to Generation 2.
And I'm gonna help you.
What you say?
I said it before. Generation 2 is my favorite in the series, and I'll be damned if you mess up any of the details.
I didn't mess up details before.
Actually, Johnny, in your red, blue, and yellow review, you mistook a picture of Satoshi Tajiri for Tsunekaze Ishihara, the president of Pokemon Company. So, yeah, you're gonna need our help on this one.
Wait, you're joining too?
I have 3 Ancient Mews. You doubt my credibility.
Why do you have 3 Ancient Mew cards?
I don't know, Ted. Why do you look like Loki?
Hey!
Alright, you guys can help me review Gold and Silver.
And Crystal.
See, we're helping already.
Let's just end this video already.
Ooh, is this where the to be continued text appears? There it is! Or is it there? I don't even know anymore.